They say legends don't test each other. But one day, Muhammad Ali looked at Bruce Lee, smiled that famous smile, and said two simple words, "Hit me." No gloves, no referee, no crowd chanting. Just two of the most dangerous men on earth standing face to face. Ali thought it would be a joke. Bruce Lee didn't. 3 seconds later, the room changed. This isn't a story about who would win in a fight. It's about speed. It's about ego. It's about respect. And it's about the moment Muhammad Ali realized Bruce Lee wasn't playing the same game. It wasn't a stadium. It wasn't a pay-per-view event. And no one sold tickets. The moment didn't happen under bright lights. It happened in a quiet gym where sweat, not cameras, filled the air. It was the early 1970s. Muhammad Ali was already the greatest, Olympic gold medalist, heavyweight champion, the loudest man in boxing, and somehow the fastest too. He floated like a butterfly. He stung like a bee. And he talked like a poet who had discovered microphones. Meanwhile, across the Pacific and into Hollywood, another storm was forming. Bruce Lee. He wasn't just a martial artist, he was a thinker, a philosopher, a man obsessed with efficiency. He didn't just train muscles, he trained time. And that's what made him different. Let's pause here for something important. People love to imagine this story as a fight, but that's not what it was. Ali outweighed Bruce by nearly 100 pounds. Ali trained to absorb punches from giants. Bruce trained to end fights before they began. Two different sciences, two different rulebooks, but both men respected mastery. Ali admired speed, Bruce admired rhythm, and they both studied each other. In fact, here's something most people don't know. Bruce Lee was a huge fan of Muhammad Ali. He studied Ali's footwork on film. Yes, the Kung Fu master was studying a boxer. Because Bruce believed in something radical for that era, absorb what is useful. It didn't matter where it came from. Boxing, fencing, wrestling. If it worked, he studied it. That's how Jeet Kune Do was born, not as a style, but as a rebellion against rigid styles. The gym smelled like leather and old ambition. Ali was relaxed, playful, shadowboxing even while talking. He had that charisma that made you feel like you were in a show, even if there were only 5 people in the room. Bruce walked in differently, quiet, observing, eyes scanning everything. Ali saw him and grinned. "You that fast movie guy, right?" Bruce smiled politely. "And you must be the loud boxer." Ali laughed hard. That was the thing about Ali. He loved confidence. Not arrogance, confidence. And Bruce had it, not the kind that shouts, the kind that doesn't need to. Ali believed in psychological warfare. He'd win fights before the bell even rang. He'd predict the round. He'd insult you creatively. He'd rhyme about knocking you out. Bruce believed in something else. Silence, economy, precision. He once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Ali heard that and raised an eyebrow. "Man, I practiced knocking people out 10,000 times." Bruce grinned. "Yes, but how long does it take you?" Ali smirked. That was when it shifted. It wasn't about ego, it became curiosity. Let's understand something. Ali's jab was measured at incredible speed for a heavyweight. Around 0.25 seconds. That's faster than most people can blink. But Bruce Lee? Researchers later measured his 1-inch punch reaction time at roughly 0.05 seconds in demonstration conditions. That's not just fast, that's neurological dominance. Bruce trained for explosive acceleration, what physicists call rate of force development. Ali trained for rhythm, endurance, and timing across rounds. Boxing is a marathon of violence. Jeet Kune Do was designed to end conflict instantly. Different purposes, different outcomes, neither better, just different. The challenge. Ali leaned against the ropes. "You think you're that quick?" Bruce didn't answer. He stepped closer. Ali removed one glove. That's important. He removed one glove. This wasn't a fight. It was curiosity. Ali raised his chin slightly, that famous chin, the one that had taken punches from Joe Frazier. He smiled. "Go ahead." Bruce didn't move. Ali chuckled. Come on, hit me. Someone in the room laughed nervously. Bruce tilted his head slightly. You're sure? Ali waved his hand. Man, I've been hit by the best. Show me. Now here's the key detail. Bruce wasn't looking at Ali's face. He was watching his shoulders. Because shoulders tell the truth. They move before hands do. This is something elite fighters know. And this is educational for anyone watching. If you want to understand human intention, watch the body, not the words. Bruce relaxed his shoulders. No dramatic stance, no yelling, just breath. Ali shifted weight slightly, almost playfully. In his mind, this was a test of reaction. He assumed he could slip anything Bruce threw. After all, this was a heavyweight champion who dodged punches by millimeters. But here's what Ali underestimated. Bruce wasn't throwing a boxer's punch. He wasn't telegraphing from the shoulder. He wasn't winding up. He wasn't thinking about power. He was thinking about interception. Jeet Kune Do literally means the way of the intercepting fist, not attacking, intercepting. And that's what changed everything. Bruce's hand moved, not from a big swing, from almost nothing. Ali's eyes widened, not because of pain, but because he didn't see the start. The glove in his hand shifted slightly. The air cracked. It wasn't a knockout punch, it was a controlled strike, stopping just short of full impact. But the speed made Ali blink after it had already passed. Silence. 3 seconds. Ali froze. Then he laughed. Not embarrassed. Impressed. Oh! He stepped back. Oh, you fast. Bruce relaxed. It's not speed. Ali raised a brow. It's timing. Ali stared for a second longer, and for the first time that day, he wasn't performing, he was thinking. No one fell, no one got hurt. There was no dramatic knockout. What changed was perspective. Ali realized something crucial. Bruce wasn't playing boxing. He was playing physics. Bruce realized something too. Ali's rhythm and movement were on another level. Two masters, different crafts, same dedication. Ali put the glove back on. You know what? He said. You might be too fast for me, man. Bruce shook his head. You're too big. They both laughed. And that was the real victory. Not dominance, respect. Here's the deeper lesson. The world loves who would win. But real greatness doesn't need to prove. Ali didn't need to fight Bruce. Bruce didn't need to knock out Ali. Both understood something mature competitors understand. Mastery recognizes mastery. And when ego is removed, growth begins. Ali went back to training. Bruce went back to refining. But that tiny 3-second exchange became legendary in whispers. Because it revealed something powerful. Speed is not strength. Strength is not speed. But awareness beats both. After the laughter faded, something subtle happened. Muhammad Ali stopped smiling, not because he was upset, because he was thinking. And when Ali thought, he thought strategically. The room went back to normal. Gloves tightened. Someone hit the heavy bag. A trainer muttered about foot positioning. The world resumed its noise. But Ali kept replaying that moment in his head. Not the strike, the absence of it. He hadn't seen the beginning. For a man who built a career on seeing punches before they landed, that bothered him. Let's be honest. Most champions would have brushed it off. He's quick, but put gloves on and let's see. But Ali wasn't most champions. He understood something about greatness. If something surprises you, study it. That's what made him dangerous. That's what made him more than just a heavyweight with fast hands. He was a student of movement. And Bruce Lee had just introduced him to a different language of movement. Ali walked over to Bruce, still grinning but with a new tone. Do that again. Bruce shook his head slightly. Speed is not for show. Ali laughed. Man, everything I do is for show. Bruce smiled. Yes, but you also train harder than anyone. That compliment landed. Because it was true. Ali might have talked more than anyone in sports history, but he ran miles before sunrise. He trained when others partied. He studied opponents frame by frame. He wasn't just loud, he was disciplined. Bruce respected that. Now here's where the educational value deepens. Boxing training is built around rounds. 3 minutes of controlled chaos. Rest, repeat. The body adapts to endurance under impact. Martial arts like Jeet Kune Do were built differently. Short bursts, explosive entries. No expectation of multiple rounds. Bruce trained for interception, stopping an attack at its birth. He practiced finger jabs to the eyes, controlled in demonstration, of course, side kicks to the knee, direct line attacks, not flashy, efficient. Ali trained for a chess match. Bruce trained for a lightning strike. When Ali asked Bruce how he trained speed, Bruce didn't say push-ups or sit-ups. He said something that confused everyone in the room. I train relaxation. Ali squinted. Relaxation? That little snap felt like electricity. Bruce nodded. Because tension is slow. Now that's science. Muscle tension delays reaction time. The more relaxed you are, the faster you can contract. That's neuromuscular efficiency. Ali actually understood this instinctively. That's why he floated. Heavyweights weren't supposed to move like that, but Ali stayed loose. Loose is fast. Fast is hard to hit. Bruce simply refined that philosophy to its extreme. At one point, Ali raised his hand dramatically. Okay, but if I really hit you, Bruce raised a finger, if you land. The room burst into laughter. Ali loved that. Confidence without disrespect. He shadowboxed lightly in front of Bruce. You think you could dodge this? Bruce watched carefully. No. The room got quiet. Ali smirked. See? Bruce continued calmly. I would not dodge. I would intercept. Ali blinked. Man, you don't talk normal. Bruce laughed softly. Neither do you. What most people don't realize is this. Ali later watched martial artists differently. He had always believed boxing was the most refined striking system in the world, and in many ways for sport, it was. But Bruce introduced a concept beyond sport: efficiency without rules. That's when things get complicated. Because sport creates boundaries. No eye strikes, no throat shots, no kicks to the knee. Remove those rules, and the strategy changes. Ali understood that. He wasn't foolish. He knew that outside the ring variables multiply, and Bruce's system was designed for that chaos. Now let's flip the lens. Bruce wasn't trying to beat Ali. In fact, he once openly admitted, a heavyweight boxer like Muhammad Ali would likely defeat me in a boxing match. That's humility. That's clarity. Bruce wasn't delusional. He knew weight classes matter. Physics matters. Mass multiplied by acceleration equals force. Ali had mass. Bruce had acceleration. In pure boxing, Ali dominates. In a street encounter with no rules, the equation changes. Bruce understood context. That's intellectual maturity. Later, away from the group, Ali asked Bruce something genuine. How do you get that fast? Bruce answered honestly. I don't think about being fast. Ali nodded slowly. Bruce continued. When the mind is still, the body moves without delay. That's Zen philosophy blended with combat science. Reaction time has two components. Perception decision. Bruce minimized decision. He trained automatic response. That's why it looks supernatural. Ali did something similar with slipping punches. He didn't calculate each move. He flowed. Flow state. Modern psychology now studies it extensively. Back then, these men were living it. Ali later told someone close to him, that man fast, real fast, not in a threatened way, in an appreciative way. Because Ali loved excellence, and Bruce embodied obsession. Bruce once said, I am not talented, I am obsessed. He trained daily, heavy bags, isometrics, grip strength, flexibility drills, philosophy reading. He treated his body like a laboratory. Ali treated his body like a symphony. Different metaphors, same devotion. Here's where storytelling often gets exaggerated. People turn that moment into, Bruce Lee knocked Ali back. That didn't happen. Let's keep this grounded. What happened was more powerful. Ali respected what he felt. He felt speed beyond expectation. And that's rare for someone at his level. Champions don't get surprised often. But when they do, It sticks. There's a neurological reason sudden speed is intimidating. The human brain predicts motion. When something moves faster than prediction models expect, it triggers alert response. That's why jump scares work. That's why a fast jab freezes people. Bruce disrupted expectation. Ali built expectation. Both manipulated time. After that meeting, Bruce intensified his boxing study. He refined his lead hand. He incorporated more head movement. Ali, meanwhile, continued evolving his defensive rhythm. Neither copied the other, but both expanded. And that's the secret. Greatness isn't static. It absorbs. As the session ended, Ali wrapped his hands again. "You ever think about boxing?" Bruce smiled. "Only to learn." Ali nodded. "You ever think about teaching me that snap?" Bruce looked thoughtful. "Only if you teach me that footwork." Ali grinned. "Deal." They shook hands. No contract, no cameras. Just two men who understood that mastery recognizes mastery. The world wants rivalry. Reality offered respect. This story isn't about who would win. It's about what happens when two disciplines collide without ego. Ali didn't lose. Bruce didn't win. Both learned. And that's why history remembers moments like this. Not for violence, but for awareness. The story didn't explode the next day. There were no headlines that read, "Ali tests Bruce Lee." No viral clips. No slow-motion replays. Just a quiet exchange that lived in memory. And sometimes, those are the moments that last the longest. Because legends don't need publicity, they echo. Years passed. Ali kept dancing in the ring, fighting wars against giants, Frazier, Foreman, Norton. He absorbed punishment that would have broken most men. He proved over and over that heart can outlast physics. Bruce kept refining something even more radical. Not just martial arts. Himself. He challenged traditional schools. He broke cultural barriers in Hollywood. He refused to play stereotypes. He created a philosophy that was ahead of its time. Be water, my friend. People quote it today like it's poetry. But it wasn't poetry. It was strategy. Water adapts. Water flows. Water crashes. Water becomes whatever the container demands. Ali was water in the ring. Bruce was water in life. That's why their energies matched. What many people miss is this. The real fight wasn't between Bruce and Ali. It was between limitation and evolution. Ali broke the limitation that heavyweights had to be slow. Bruce broke the limitation that martial arts had to be rigid. Both men were rebels in their own systems. Ali talked back to authority. Bruce questioned tradition. Ali refused to be drafted and stood by his beliefs at enormous personal cost. Bruce refused to accept that Chinese martial arts should stay hidden, or that Asian actors should be sidelined in Hollywood. Different battles, same courage. Now let's address the debate everyone still whispers, who would win? It's the wrong question, because it assumes they were solving the same problem. Boxing solves competition under rules. Jeet Kune Do solves survival under unpredictability. Ali trained to dominate 12 rounds under lights. Bruce trained to end conflict in seconds under chaos. That's like asking who wins, a Formula One car or a rally truck. Depends on the terrain. And here's the deeper truth. Both men knew that. Ali once openly admitted he respected martial artists' speed. Bruce openly admitted a heavyweight boxer's power was dangerous. That's intellectual honesty. That's maturity. The internet likes fantasy matchups. Real masters understand context. There's another layer to this story most people ignore. Timing. Bruce Lee died in 1973 at only 32 years old. Ali continued fighting for years, facing brutal wars in the ring. One life burned bright and short. One endured long and punishing. But both left something immortal. Influence. Look at modern MMA. Footwork like boxing. Interceptions like Jeet Kune Do. Relaxation under pressure. Explosive entries. Cross-disciplinary training. What was once separate merged. Bruce's philosophy predicted it. Ali's movement influenced it. Today's fighters combine disciplines without ego. Exactly what Bruce preached. Exactly what Ali embodied through adaptation. That tiny 3-second moment wasn't about impact, it symbolized convergence. two worlds nodding at each other. There's a quiet story told by people who trained around Ali. After that day, when someone moved unusually fast in sparring, Ali would grin and say, "Trying to be Bruce Lee now?" Not mockingly, playfully, respectfully. And Bruce? He continued studying boxing film. He once analyzed Ali's shuffle step frame by frame. He didn't dismiss it, he admired it. That's something we should pay attention to. Greatness doesn't feel threatened by greatness. It studies it. Here's something educational and powerful. Speed without structure is chaos. Power without precision is waste. Confidence without humility is ego. Bruce trained structure. Ali trained precision. Both balanced confidence with discipline. That's why their legacies survived beyond highlight reels. And maybe the most important lesson of all, they were human. Ali joked. Bruce smiled, they laughed. There was no dramatic stare-down, no hatred, just curiosity, just mutual testing, just two men obsessed with mastering themselves. And maybe that's why the story still spreads, because in a world obsessed with conflict, respect feels rare. Think about your own life. When someone challenges you, do you react with ego or curiosity? When you meet someone skilled, do you compete immediately or do you study? Ali could have dismissed Bruce. Bruce could have tried to prove something reckless. Instead, both chose control. Control is power, not dominance. Control, 3 seconds, that's all it took. Not to determine a winner, but to create awareness. And sometimes awareness is more powerful than victory, because victories fade, understanding evolves. And now I want to ask you something. If you had been in that gym, watching two icons face each other, would you have been cheering for power, or speed, for boxing, or martial arts? Or would you have recognized what really happened, respect meeting respect? This story has traveled across decades, across cultures, across debates. Now it has reached you. So tell me, from which part of the country are you watching this from? Leave a comment below. I'm curious how far this legend has traveled.